Hey guys, Code with Jay here, and today we're going to be combining our Flask framework knowledge with our Alpaca trading API knowledge. What we're going to be doing is creating an interface in order to utilize our paper trading account. First thing you want to do is open up your Alpaca trading dashboard and go to your API keys, copy your API key and your API secret key, and inside Visual Studios, we're going to say config.py. We're going to create two variables here, alpaca key ID, and we'll set that equal to an empty string for now, and alpaca secret key. And we'll set that to, let me copy, paste this in, and now copy my API key, paste this in. We're also going to need the URL. So underneath this, we can also say Alpaca Base URL and set that equal to this endpoint. The next thing we're going to need is our headers, and we're going to go ahead and give the key a value of APCA API key ID, and the value will be our alpaca key ID, and again, comma, and APCA API secret key, and this will be our alpaca secret key. Now that our config file has basically been all set up, the next thing we want to do is get our Flask framework set up. We're going to come in here, hit new folder. We're going to say website. Inside this website folder, we'll make another folder. We'll call it templates. Inside website again, another folder, call it static. And again, a file, and this time 2 underscores init, 2 underscores .py. Lastly, outside of the website directory here, where config.py is, go ahead and make a main.py. To go ahead and get started with this Flask framework, if you watch the older tutorials, this might be second nature to you, but you say from Flask, import Flask. In here, we're going to make a function called createApp. And inside here, we're just going to say app equals Flask and pass it name. And in here, we'll return the app. In main.py, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and say from website, import the function we created, createApp. Now we'll say app equals createApp. And underneath this, we'll say if 2 underscores name is equal to 2 underscores main, app.run debug equals true. Now that we have the basis of our Flask server base set up, we can hit run here, and you'll see that it starts to run. If we click this link, there's going to be nothing there, just a not found page, but we'll close this by hitting Control-C. Now let's go ahead and get HTML to load up on those pages rather than nothing and just blank. In order to do this, we're going to have to initialize and create blueprints. So inside the website folder, go and create a new file, and let's call this pages.py. Inside pages.py, we want to say from Flask, import blueprints, or blueprint, and render template. Underneath this, we're going to say pages equals blueprint. We're going to give this class the name of pages, and we're going to pass it name. Now that we have these blueprints, what we can do, or now that we've created a class of blueprints, what we can do is start messing with the roots. So at pages.root, and basically the index, I want to return a function called index, and it will return a render template of index.html. Currently, we do not have an index.html, nor is our blueprint actually initialized when we create the Flask application. So when we create the application, we need to come in here and we need to tell our app that app from.register blueprint. Before we can actually register the blueprint though, we'll need to import it from that file we just created. So from .pages, because it's a relative import, we'll import pages, this instance of the class of blueprint we just made, and we'll go ahead and register that blueprint that we made in pages.py. So passing pages, it registers the blueprint. Now, when it tries to return the render template of index.html, it's going to look into templates and it's going to try to find an index.html. Inside index.html, what we'll do is put the doc type, the HTML, we'll put our head and our body. Inside the head here, I'm just going to do something simple. I'm just going to do the title. And the title of the tab here, I'm just going to call it Paper Trading Interface. That might be too big for the tab, but whatever. And same thing here, I'm just going to put an h1 header tag and say Paper Trading Interface. Perfect. Now what we can do is we can come to main.py, run our application, control-click on this link, open up our browser, and you'll see that it returned the render template of index.html. Now that we have the render template working, what we need to do in order to allow the user to tell us what type of trade they want to input is we need to make a form. So let's go to our index.html inside of our body and let's start the form. So underneath this, I'm basically going to give it a little break, and I'm going to then again put another tag. Let's actually make this smaller and say order form, and then we can start with our actual form. Inside this form, we want to start with what type of order they want to make, whether it's a market order, a limit order, stop limit, stop, so be it. So let's go ahead and make options for those. So we're going to do a select, and inside this select, we're going to have option, and we'll have a value set to select here. And the first one will just be select order type, just to let them know, hey, you need to select an order type. Next thing we want to do is give the option of market, and type market here. You can also delete that space. Again, option, value, limit, so on, so forth. I should just be copy and pasting these for stop and stop limit. I believe there's trailing stop as well. However, my fingers are getting tired, and I think I'll leave it at this many options. Now that we have all the options that we want, what we'll do is underneath the select, we'll need to know what ticker they actually want to do. So here we'll do an input, and inside the input, we're going to say that it's type label or text, and we'll ask the value will be ticker. Perfect. Then underneath that input, we'll need type text, or actually we can do number, and we'll need to know how many they want. So value is quantity, and just to come here and refresh our page, ticker quantity, I can't really show, but we'll set 0 here because it's number. There we go. Market, limit, stop, ticker. The default value in here is just ticker, and we have a default quantity of 0. Perfect. So another thing you're going to need besides that is whether it's buy or sell, and if it's limit will have the price, essentially, if it's limit or stop limit. Now you can make that option appear and change based whether what option you have selected here by adding a little JavaScript. For now, we're just going to just leave it at the ticker and the quantity, and you guys can add the input fields as it fits your application. Inside this form tag, we want to say method is equal to post. And now that this is set up, what we'll do is make our submit button. So input type submit, and that should give us a submit button. Perfect. Inside pages here, right next to in the root, what we'll do is we're going to say methods equals, go ahead and put your square brackets, and we're going to say get, comma, and post. Now what we'll do is right next to the importing of render template, what we're going to do is we're going to import request. And inside our function, what we'll do is say if request.method is equal to post. So if they sent in the form, then real quickly what we want to do is get their information. So ticker is going to be equal to request.form.get, and this will be, we'll be looking for ticker. And underneath that, we'll also need the quantity. So quantity equals request.form.get and quantity. One more thing I forgot is inside here, let's go ahead and give this a name of ticker and this a name of quantity, so it can find what we're looking for. Once we get those put into the variables, all I want to do for now is just print out ticker and print out the quantity that we put. So going back here, what we can do is let's just put apple. I want to guess 60. Submit. Go back to our code, and it says none and none. Why is this? That's because I added. Go ahead and stop it. I added this while it was live. Let's go ahead and go to main.py, run it one more time. Go back to pages.py, put app APL 60, order type, market, submit. Apple and 60. Again, we're going to need the order type. So in order to get the order type, we can go ahead and grab that from the form. Inside the form, we can say name equals order type. And in pages, we can say order type is equal to request.form.get order type. I'm going to go ahead and stop the server again, run it one more time, go back to here, select market, APL, and it already knows what I want here, 60. Submit, go back to our Visual Studio's code. Notice how it didn't print that because I didn't ask for it to print. Sometimes I frustrate my own self. This should technically, yep. I just submitted market, ticker, and 0. Not that it mattered if I put apple or 0, since we're not doing anything with the information now. But now that we have the information we need, what we can do is finally get started with the Alpaca side of things. Getting started with the Alpaca side of things is easy as creating a new file here, calling it alpaca.py. Now, inside of alpaca.py, what we're going to do is we're going to need to import our config, import requests, and I believe that's all the imports we need for now, so we'll see as we get using them. So let's go ahead and start making our functions. So let's go ahead and start with create a market order. And inside, we'll need to be passing the ticker, the quantity, the order side they're on, the type, and I believe that's it for a market order. So we don't have a limit price. So inside of here, now that we have that, we're going to basically create our data that we're going to pass to Alpaca. The data that we're passing is Alpaca requests a symbol, and that will be whatever the ticker we get is. We'll need the quantity, and that will be, again, the quantity that is passed through. We're going to need a side, the order side, and in this case, we can just hard code it to buy. You can always make a radio option just to see if it's buy or sell. Actually, we can do that here. Let's do that together real quick. Let's do input type radio, and then value equals buy, name equals side. Make another one, call it sell, and that should create an option for us. So we can come back in here, again, make our code more flexible, say side, add a side in here, and again, an order type. So it asks for a type, and that is our type. The last thing it asks for is the time enforce. You can do this day, good till cancel. I'm going to hard code good till cancel. Again, this is another option you can make in your form. I'm just trying to not overcomplicate the form for the sake of the tutorial. All right, now that we have all the data, when we pass through this order, we want to actually send in the order. So we can say r equals requests dot post, and we can say orders. We need to create an orders URL. So in order to create an orders URL, come up here, and the orders URL will be grabbed from config.py. From here, we just need to format this to have /v2/orders at the end of it. So in order to do that, we can just say, put the string here, put the basically what we're going to have the link that's in config. We're going to type /v2/orders. We're going to say .format, and we're going to say config.alpaca base URL. Perfect. Now we can say orders URL. So we send a request to Alpaca through this order URL. Alpaca needs to know a couple things. It needs to first know, what are we sending it? Like, we need to send it the JSON data that we created, and it needs to know who we are. So do you have an account with Alpaca? Do you have a secret key and a normal key? So again, we'll say headers equals config.headers. Now that we've created this order function, what we can do is we can go back to pages. We can import. So I'm going to just say from Alpaca import create market order. And once we have all of this, we can say if order type is equal to market, then what we want to do is create a market order and pass it the ticker, which was ticker, quantity, which is our quantity variable, the side, which we now have a radio button for. So we need to come in here and say order side equals request dot form dot get, and we called it side, and we'll pass it order side and ticker quantity. The last thing is order type. So order type. Now that we have this, once this posts, we'll return render template index dot. Perfect. So going back over what we just did is creating a function that takes in the ticker quantity side type, puts it into a JSON format, sends a request to Alpaca, sends in the data, and confirms or sends also who we are to Alpaca. Inside of here, we created a form here with buy and sell. I didn't put the labels, but believe me, buy and sell, just you could write buy and sell, I believe. If I just write this on the outside, I wonder if that's a quick fix. There we go. So we have buy and sell. Now, a couple things I want to go back and fix, and I just cut to fix real quick. I want you guys to go ahead and just change all of this to lowercase. Make sure you change this to lowercase stop and underscore with limit. Change the values to both be lowercase, just so when we send the information to Alpaca, it's all in the format it wants it, so we don't have to do any formatting. Back to the pages, what we'll do and see is we're checking if order type is market. Make sure you change that to the lowercase. Now that that's what we're grabbing, we can go ahead and leave the rest alone. And what we'll do is we'll start our server up again, come back, hit refresh, load this up. We should have selected market. We're going to pass Apple 60 by submit. We're going to come back here, and here we see 2 orders have been fulfilled because I think I refreshed the page with it on it. And just so you guys saw, I have print our content in here, so it shows this. We'll come back to our Alpaca trading view, and we'll look at our order history. We do see 2 of these. A way you can get around the kind of double refresh is by throwing a redirect page after the order is sent. So under here, what we can do is we can say at pages.root/redirect and make sure all of this is in quotes there. We'll say redirect. I'm just going to say reader and return and import redirect. Import one more thing, URL4 and URL4. And again, the endpoint that we want is pages.home or index. Now that we have the pages.index as a redirect there, we can just save this and go back, Control-C, run it again, and make one more last order. Market AAPL 60 by, actually I'm going to do 120 just so we can see it's different, by submit. It did the redirect for me, so we'll only see one order go through. Now we can come back to our Alpaca Market API, and the 120 already had popped up. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and the quick work to just get a basic form of what they have here. This is pretty good just to practice. You can go through, add some style sheets, and make your own interface to talk to Alpaca along with whatever bot or trading scan you have. Thank you again for watching Code with Jay. If you liked it, leave it a like. If you dislike it, and leave a comment if you need any help or have any questions down below.